I don't know. I don't want to oversell it, but there's some movement here in the labor movement. There's serious movement going on in the labor movement. Let's start with Starbucks. Obviously, I was on the ground in Buffalo, showing that in the lead up to them winning the first unionized Starbucks in Buffalo. Now there's three that are unionized in Buffalo. And since the Buffalo victory, it's been spreading like wildfire. So here, Starbucks union push spreads to 54 states. 54 stores in 19 states. Starbucks is facing a fast-growing union campaign just weeks after the first U.S. corporate store unionized in Buffalo. Employees at 54 stores in 19 states are pursuing union elections, according to organizers. 15 of those stores joined the union drive just yesterday, petitioning the federal labor officials to set a vote. The filing coincides with the start of contract negotiations between Starbucks unionized workers in Buffalo. I do believe I'm going to have an interview tomorrow with somebody part of the Starbucks unionization campaign. So that's Starbucks. Amazon, which, as far as I know, I've been one of the only journalists continuing to go to the Staten Island warehouse for the last 8-9 months. Amazon workers who have been organizing in Staten Island to win the first unionized Amazon in the country. And let me tell you something, what you're seeing with Starbucks, if Amazon workers are successful in Staten Island, trust me, that thing is going to spread far and wide all over the country. And none of Jeff Bezos' space shuttles could stop it. But Amazon workers in Staten Island, they have collected enough signatures to hold their own union vote. Employees garnered more than 2,500 signatures from workers saying, yes, we want a union. So Amazon workers at a warehouse in Staten Island have collected enough signatures to vote on unionizing, the National Labor Relations Board said Wednesday. That was last week. The union reached a sufficient showing of interest, the NLRB said. The milestone came as Amazon faces another major union effort in Alabama. That's in Bessemer, which they will have a revote now. They lost the vote last year. The NLRB ruled that Amazon broke the law during that election process. So they're now having a revote. But this is pretty big. The Starbucks is obviously very big. And I would say so is what's going on in Staten Island, because no disrespect to the Starbucks workers, each store, you're talking, I don't know, 20, 30, maybe 40 employees. This Amazon warehouse is over 5,000 employees. So, and Amazon's turnover rate is 150%, meaning Amazon is hiring and firing workers at this one massive warehouse, Staten Island, at literally 150% turnover rate. So the fact that they got enough signatures is pretty huge.
Irrespective of political party, irrespective of race or gender, coming together as workers, as the 99% and organizing, that's a very good thing. And I believe very strongly that unionization and uniting labor as a whole is probably our best bet at actually making a difference going forward, because clearly getting behind the blue team or the red team isn't getting us anywhere. It's going to have to happen outside of the two parties. It's going to have to happen in some other way. And I imagine as long as the unions don't get too cozy with the Democrats reliving some old past glory that doesn't exist anymore, I think that's a really, really positive thing for all of us, because everything that is good for them, trickles out to the rest of us in this sense, because it creates the energy for labor. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. This is still a very, very small blip, but it's a very positive sign for sure.
And I also think people need to recognize, let's start with Starbucks. Yeah, I mean, get excited that they're winning union elections, but that's like, I would say 50% of it. Then you have a Herculean task of actually getting a contract, getting a fair contract with a corporate scumbag like Starbucks. So right now, the first unionized Starbucks in Buffalo, they're beginning the process of trying to go to the negotiation table with Starbucks. And I can tell you just from sources I have, they're kicking and screaming Starbucks. So they have to, by law, recognize them, but that doesn't mean they have to, by law, work in good faith and quickly work to get a contract going. So, it remains to be seen what will happen as far as how quickly a contract will come for the first unionized store, what that contract will look at. And just because they lost the union vote doesn't mean they're not going to try and screw the workers on a contract. Fortunately, with these Starbucks workers, they have experienced old union hands working with them. These ones are not the corrupt union hands. So that's good. I wanted to also bring this up, Steve, because I don't know if this is like real or not, but some Democrats are actually trying to pass legislation to protect striking workers and their health care. So this is from Politico. A group of House Democrats plan to introduce legislation Wednesday blocking employers from cutting off striking workers' health care benefits. Congresswoman Cindy Axne will lead the effort along with Congressmen Steve Cohen, Linda Sanchez, Bill Pascrell, Brian Higgins, Jim McGovern, and Nikema Williams. Axne represents the Iowa district in which John Deere workers were on strike last year, and Cohen, the Tennessee district in which Kellogg workers were on strike. In both labor disputes, the employees reportedly lost access or almost lost access to health care and other benefits while participating in the work stoppages. Quote, exercising your right to fight for a better contract shouldn't mean risking your ability to get the essential health coverage for yourself or your family, Congressman Axne said. This is a basic measure, one born of the unfortunate reality that employers use termination of health coverage to break strikes and force employees to accept a subpar contract. So I have two thoughts on this. Why do these congressmen think we need to protect workers' health care when they're on to allow them to go on strike, but not to allow them to leave the job? How are those two things different? Because I don't know if this is just kind of, theater and they're not actually going to really push for this, but it's a great bill. And I'm for. If you take that off the table, you will see even more workers go on strike if they still have their health care. But it seems like a cognitive disconnect where they're saying, they should not have to fear losing their health care. Well, workers shouldn't have to fear losing their health care, period. If they're getting exploited at work, abused at work, for workers that don't have a union to go and they can't go on strike. So what are your thoughts first on this measure? And then what I'm talking about, why are they only going to protect their health care benefits so that they can strike?
Well, I think you already know. I mean, part of this is that the neoliberal model is that they want you to have employer-based healthcare because they want you to need a job. Okay, so part of their way of devising society is to force you into these circumstances. They know that if the companies can literally cut you off, then that is going to make people even more willing to fight for single payer healthcare. They're going to be more willing to fight for universal healthcare to avoid employer paid, to take that power back away from employers. But that's the neoliberal model. So anything that they can do to keep employer paid healthcare intact, as opposed to moving to a single payer model, they're going to do that because it's really more important that you always believe the government cannot afford to do these things. Only the rich people, only the big corporations can do these things. The government is completely out of money, completely broke, completely feckless, can't do anything right. We must rely on corporations to do this for us. We must rely on the rich to be kind and benevolent and rain their urine down on our head and call it rain. I mean, this is the neoliberal way, and they are going to defend that tooth and nail, period. This is literally the model. So this bill, while on one hand is, I guess, good in the sense that it gives striking workers some security if it passes, it's also there to protect the model that is employer-based healthcare. That is, make no mistake about it, that is not really a gift to striking workers. That is a way of them saying, we're strengthening the existing model. No thanks, man. I mean, yay. I mean, good for them. Hopefully it doesn't cause them to cave and cross picket lines. But the fact is that this is not out of some benevolent, act. This is 100% about defending the neoliberal healthcare model itself. and protecting them from any kind of fallout that might occur from an employer that would otherwise, destroy their model. That's what it comes down to.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.